Is it like is that Thai last name?
It's actually Thai, surprisingly. I know it sounds Russian, but it's like it
Yeah,
doesn't really pronounce the way it's written in English, but it's actually Thai. Yeah.
let's see. Okay. Yeah, we have about 30 something students signed up. Probably
Sounds
they
good.
will probably appear in the last minute.
Hmm.
Well, if they don't show up, they lose this great opportunity because your program is like, I mean, it's a really good program, you know. In my opinion, it is. So
Yeah, it's like 4 years and you got 2 degrees, right?
yeah, yeah, and also it's Harvard, you know, doctor degree. So that actually has a lot. You know, whatever you study at Harvard, Harvard is going to help you in certain ways. So
Every school have their own pros and cons, I would say. Yeah, but Harvard is a really good school.
yeah,
Hmm.
let's see. Yeah, I think we should just kind of get started. I think more people will kind of join in now. So I was wondering, could everybody turn on your camera, please? Because we're gonna take a Zoom selfie pretty soon. Cousin is on, perfect. Sean, Kevin. This is a bit of a surprise. Oh, more people are coming in. That's good. This is actually usually really popular sessions, but it's okay. I mean, 10 students, you know, it's their game. Maybe I should have titled better. Maybe I should have titled that the Dr. Nicha actually received a full scholarship in the residency and never mentioned that actually. Just to see, you know. Well, anyways, let's start it. All right. Hello, everyone. So welcome to the AADOCR National Student Research Group Zoom seminar. I'm James Jang, and I'm the current president-elect of the National Student Research Group, NSRG. And one of our goals of the NSRG Leadership Board is to foster a supportive collaborative network where dental students engage in research. And we hope to encourage more dental students to pursue academic careers in our profession. And we hope to expand the academic workforce and help address dental faculty shortage. So therefore, we have been inviting guest speakers whom we believe they are some of the best role models. And we believe gaining good advice and guidance help us be more ambitious and help us in continue pursuing rewarding and satisfying academic career path. So today, we're going to have an NSRG Zoom session with Dr. Nicha. She's a very talented, exemplary young academician and researcher in our profession, and we're going to learn how she's navigating her academic career path. She's a current DMSc, Doctor of Medical Science candidate, and an orthodontic resident at Harvard School of Dental Medicine. And she earned her DDS from Chulalongkorn University, the first dental school in Thailand. I apologize for not pronouncing this correctly. And after working as a general dentist in Bangkok, Thailand for a couple of years, she joined the Dr. Vanessa Ono's laboratory at the University of Michigan School of Dentistry as a visiting scholar. And currently, Dr. Ono's lab is we've moved to the UT Houston School of Dentistry. So Dr. Nicha is currently wrapping up her orthodontic residency, and she's working in Dr. Mark Wein lab, and she studies the role of the salt-inducible kinases. So before we start the session, it would be great if we turn on our camera and take our Zoom selfie. We have to use some of these pictures for our social media, so it'll be helpful. Please turn on your camera, please. Okay, should be good enough.
Thank you so much, Jane, for your kind introduction. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
I'll grab one more if everyone wants to smile real quick. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so let's get to the question that the students gathered. So first question is why did you choose Harvard's orthodontic program compared to the rest of the other programs?
So when I applied, I actually looked for the program that's actually offer dual degree. It's because I know that my goal that I want to be in academia. And in order to teach, at least in Thailand, you need to get some kind of doctorate degree. And at that time, I know for sure if I do a residency, then a full PhD, I don't think I will be able to do that study for a really long time. So I was looking for the dual degree. There are several options available. Most of them are around 5 or 6 years program. It's only DMSc dual degree at Harvard is actually 4 years. So that's kind of the main reason why I'm interested in Harvard program. And then it's also it's also the place as well. I know that Harvard's gonna have a lot of resource. I'm interested in doing research. So it's like a good place to do research at Harvard. And then one more thing is because once I come here to get for the interview for residency, I like the resident here a lot. The program vibe is actually more like a family kind of thing. They involve a lot we kind of connect a lot. It's just not that we here at school to work and then go home. We hang out a lot. So those are the reasons that I chose Harvard.
Yeah, thank you. Those are great reasons, and yeah, I agree. I mean, all these other programs out there, they're at least 6 years long, 9 years long, and Harvard is actually 4 years long, which is definitely doable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next question is so what are the possible ways to cover for the orthodontic residency and tuition manageable? We heard that you received the Harvard's presidential scholarship, which covers a 100% tuition. And congratulations, Dr. Nicha. And was this a yearly or all 4 years? And I heard that it was for those who show commitment to careers in public service or academia. So how do they know if a resident is committed to the academic career of public health or not?
Mhm. So let's start with the first question. Like, I know that orthodontic residency actually like we have to spend a lot of money on the residency. There are certain programs that actually offer stipends that you can actually look into that. For Harvard specifically, they don't actually have stipend for the master track. They offer the presidential scholarship only for the DMSc candidates. So there is other way. I think a lot of my co-resident actually apply for student loans, and there are also like a TA option that you can gain like more money in the program as well. Yeah. So for a second question for presidential scholarship, so they actually sent out the email around June or July, and once you apply for it, if you don't get it, you can always apply another year. So it depends on when you get the scholarship itself. Then in the contract, it said that you need to renew it every single year, but actually they actually just track your academic progress. If there's nothing wrong, it's automatically renew every year. So for example, I applied it on my second year. So this is my third year. So they just renew it. And if you don't have anything wrong with your academic progress, then they just renew it for you. Does that make sense? And then last question is, how do they know if we actually committed to the public service or the academia? So they actually, it's only based on your personal statement. So in order to apply for presidential scholarship, what you need is your personal statement, CVs, and then 2 letter of recommendation. So those are the things that they actually look at. So it's stated in the contract that you sign that after you graduated, if you don't work in as a full-time faculty or full-time in research or in the public service, then you have to pay the amount that you got during the residency. So they actually don't really know until you graduated, and then you probably have to pay back if you don't work as you promised to them.
Oh, so so you have to pay back. Okay, I see.
Yep.
That's a good system. So yeah, I do realize a couple of my friends who finished this program, and she's actually finished a pros, and she worked at the NYU as a clinical assistant professor. You probably know her actually.
Anna?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so how long does she need to work? If she worked for 2 years and then go to private practice, hypothetically, does she have to pay back the loans, the scholarship?
So the year that you actually have to work is the same amount of year that you got scholarship. So if
Oh,
you got it 3 years and you work full time for 3 years, and then that's it.
okay, so it's kind of very similar to military scholarship, I guess. Okay, let's see. Oh, good to know. Wow, this is a very important info. Okay, so next question is so you already answered this question, choosing DMSc program versus PhD. But I guess the next part of the question is the residents in the DMS program after they graduate, what do they usually do?
So for the DMSc, most of us actually enter as DMSc because we are interested in academia. However, not all of us actually end up being in academia. I would say there are a lot of people that actually graduated and work in private practice. But if they're not, then they're in academia. So it's either private practice or academia. If there are a lot of international dentists that actually accept the scholarship from their country, those they're already in academia. That's why they have to like they kind of have a commitment to go back to their own country. And I would say the ratio right now is probably like 50-50. Yeah.
That's actually pretty good because my program, the dual degree DMD PhD program, it's like 40%, 60%. So 40% academia, 60% private practice. So I mean, Harvard's doing, you know, a pretty good job actually. Okay.
I don't know about other specialties though. I only know about ortho that like
Okay.
probably like in the past 5 or 6 years that I know, most of them are in academia. So I think we're we're doing good. Yeah.
So you don't have to, you know, if you let's just hypothetically, if you go back to Thailand and become a professor in Thailand, then Harvard doesn't ask you to pay back, you know, their presidential scholarship, right?
Yeah. So you actually can work in the public service or as a faculty anywhere in the world. You just need to provide like a letter from your school to them. Yeah, that's all they required.
I see. Okay, that's good to know. So our next question is so you did briefly mention that you want to go back to Thailand and, you know, work as a professor in dental school. If I didn't miss a year. So what are your future plans upon finishing residency? Do you want to stay involved in academia?
Yes. So as of now, I'm still not so sure if I'm gonna go back to Thailand right away or not. At least like I want to gain some experience here first. So one thing that is different from compared to DMSc and the pure PhD is that for DMSc I only have like a full year of research and then 3 years of clinical practice. So I'm not gonna have that many research experience compared to like the PhD people. So I'm thinking that the ideal situation is that I can do postdoc and be like an instructor at the same time so that I still can practice orthodontic while I'm getting more experience in research part. So that's like an ideal situation that I'm thinking right now. I'm probably gonna work in some school here in the States for a while before I go back to Thailand.
Yeah. So I'm not sure whether you heard about this program, but the NIH NIDCR has a postdoc program, and they pay about twice more than a typical postdoc, and also that you let you work part-time as a, you know, any specialist dentist or any dentist. That could be a good program. Okay, so the next question we had was what are the qualifications for residency in orthodontics and DMSc combined program? I guess this is the kind of question like what does Harvard program look for, I guess.
So there are some changes in leadership in Harvard recently. We just changed dean, and also my program just changed the program director. But as of now that I've heard like the direction of the dean, they want someone who can produce research as well as clinical. So I guess they want someone who's well-rounded. And like, so I would say research experience at Harvard right now is pretty important if you want to get in. Yeah. I hope that answered the question.
How important is GRE? Because like I'm in this situation that I'm finishing on my PhD and I have to study for GRE. I mean, that's like, you know, finishing up dental school and studying for DAT. So it's kind of like demoralizing. I'm like, I don't want to study this, you know. But how important is GRE?
I know. Like, I've heard so many things from so many different programs. When I applied for it, there are people saying that the GRE is not that important, but don't forget that there are programs that's actually is not graded and they don't have like the ranking. They only have pass failed. So I think it's also important to do it, at least like get it in the first half of it, you know, maybe like I'm not sure if there's actually look at your DAT score. for the residency. I think it depends on the program, right? Yeah, so if you don't have the DAT score, I think the GRE is quite important. There are programs that I know that they actually look at the score. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard one in Illinois, Chicago, they look at our pre-dental DAT scores, which is interesting. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So the next question we had was, what are the deficiencies in ortho research area and what needs to be explored in your opinion?
Oh, so that's a really good question. And I'm studying for the board exam too. So I'm like reading all these articles. And most of them state that we need more randomized controlled trial for certain appliance and things like that. So right now, a lot of things that we practice in clinic for orthodontic is more like an experience based and not really evidence based that much. So I would say a good randomized controlled trial, but I know that it's hard because there are so many confounding factor. We need a lot of samples, and then orthodontists, most of us just don't practice the same way. That's kind of a beauty of orthodontic as well. Like we have the same goal, but we have so many treatment plans, but then it's gonna make that hard to kind of produce like a consistent research in the clinical part as well. Yeah.
Good to know. Our next question is, you kind of already answered your questions, but okay, here. What made your application competitive, and does your research play a major role in boosting your profile? And I don't have any prior experience for research. From where should I start? And what made you stand out as an applicant for the ortho residency?
So, actually, it's like for me, I think what makes me stand out is actually the research part. One thing that the thing is I applied 2 times. So that's actually like I got in on the second time that I applied. The first time that I applied for the residency, I was in Thailand and I didn't have the research experience as well. And then at that time I reached out to Vanita already, talk about like the application stuff, and we have been exchanging email for at least a year, and then I didn't match. So she asked if I want to gain more research experience with her. So like I would say that research experience is important, especially in program that require a master degree or that is master degree or a DMSc. Those are the ones that you actually have to do research. So those are important. And one thing that you can do if you don't have a research experience right now, just reach out. Like you can reach out to the PI, the faculty that you know, even with the resident. Like if they're doing master, they're doing some kind of research. Like all of the resident needs to do research if they're getting master degree anyways. And they wouldn't mind an extra help for you guys. So like just reach out to any of them. Did I answer all the questions?
Oh, you did. Yeah, that's right. So the research is very part of the Harvard's ortho program, and it's probably the same case for other specialty residency programs as well.
Yeah.
So what will be the application process for the Canadian and other international dental school graduates?
So I don't actually know the specific, like any specific stuff for Canadian, but for international. So I'm gonna put the link here. So there are, so for orthodontic, there's actually like it's kind of like either match or non-match. And then there's gonna be ones that go through like a central system which called ADEA pass, or either if they're going to accept the resident the application directly to the school itself. And like, so I would say first thing first, like just find the resource of like all of the program that you want. So there are links that I put in to the chat right now. So there is one from the American, like the AAO info. Those are the programs that's actually accredited, which means after you graduate, you can apply for the board and you can be board certified after that. So in that website itself, it's going to have the different, like an individual website for each program that you have. So first thing first, start researching the program first. Go into the website and then find out which system is it using? Is it going to be match, non-match? Is it going to be through central system, or if it's going to be individually applied? And then go from there. There are several stuff that you're going to need to get if you're an international student or international dentist. You're going to need to they kind of like it's called easy. You need to submit this transcript so that it can kind of convert your international transcript into the US transcript. And then you need to take TOEFL, DRE. NBD is also useful if you have. Some of the programs said that they don't actually require for the NBD, but if you have it, you have more chance to get interview. Then you need CV, the personal statement, and then letter of recommendation. So for personal statement, the tip is just kind of like be yourself, write something that is genuine, and don't be too cliche about stuff. So imagine all the committee reading 100 of applications saying that you had orthodontic when you were younger and you're so inspired by your orthodontist. That is like, they're going to read that for at least like 50 applications. Try to find something that is special about yourself and put it in the personal statement. So like, this is actually really funny. I've heard it from one of my faculty that the application that he read, unfortunately, that applicant didn't get into our program. He kind of said that he had ortho treatment when he was younger, and then he got inspired by orthodontists, but not in a good way. He hates his orthodontist and he wants to be a better orthodontist. That's why he's like applying for orthodontic residency. So that is actually something that's going to make you stand out. So like that applicant, even though he doesn't really get in, but the faculty still remember that applicant until today. So like, so it's a combination of everything actually in CV. I think research helps a lot. And also, I don't want to say that, but grades and the class rank also play an important role in orthodontic application as well. Yeah. And and then like and then the second one that I put in is ADEA pass. It has all the deadline and the start of the application process in there as well. So that's a good place to start.
All right, thank you for the very detailed answers. So our next question was would you describe us the interview process of the Harvard Ortho program?
Oh, sure. So after you applied everything, you'll get the email like that you're invited for the interview. So I think as of now, it depends on the year. So last year we only have a day of the interview. Sometimes the previous year we have 2 days of interview. Sometimes you can choose the day, sometimes you can't. And if you can choose the day, it doesn't like, there are so many theories. Some of people told you to do the first day so that the committee is like having a really fresh mind. Some of the theory told you to choose the last day so that you will be fresh in their mind when they're doing meeting right after the interview. So the day for me doesn't matter that much. So if you don't get the date, just get the date and time that you can make it there. And then I know that it's cliche, but just be yourself in the interview during the interview process. One thing that you need to be, even though you're an introvert, try to be an extrovert for a day for orthodontic program at Harvard. Now, I think it's for all of orthodontic program. So because like, you know, orthodontists, we need to talk to patient all the time. And it's just kind of like a nature of orthodontist that the more pleasant you are, the more likely that people is gonna like you. And then be yourself, smile, and then also, this is important, interact with the other applicant as well. Not just talk to the residents, talk to the applicants too. We actually look at your interaction between the applicants as well, because those people are going to be your colleague in the future, maybe in a different program, but sometimes you'll like, most of the time you're going to run into them at a certain point of your life. So be nice to them too. And for other part, most of them is not going to be a serious question. There are certain questions that you kind of need to prepare, like tell me about yourself, why orthodontics, things like that. Get that prepared, but not like when you answer it, just try not answer like you remember everything word to word. Be natural about it. Most of the, I think all the program, once you got invited for an interview, it means you're good, you're really good, that they really want you in. And then so just be yourself for, yep.
Yeah, good to know. It sounds like the interview is a lot more friendly compared to the my Harvard Dental School interview I had, because they're like grilling me for 2 hours, so it was pretty tough for me. But maybe I just
Actually, the residency interview is quite chill. I would say I thought it would be more serious, but it's more like they are really trying to get to know you. And one other thing, if you go with the mindset that it's not just them choosing you, but it's you choosing them too, it's gonna be much better.
I see. That's a good mindset. Yeah, thank you. All right, so next question is actually, this is actually a really important question too. So you worked as a general dentist in Thailand for a couple of years. Would you recommend working as a general dentist before specializing? Do you think the work experience as a general dentist would be helpful for the ortho residency applicant?
It's actually really helpful to me. For my case, actually in Thailand, the dental school tuition is subsidized by the government. So after we graduate, they kind of like, we kind of have to work in a public hospital in order to pay our debt to the government. But you can choose to pay money instead of paying like as work as well. So the reason why I chose it at that time is because I wasn't really sure which specialty I want to do yet. So I would say if you already know which specialty you want to do, there's nothing wrong with applying for the specialty right away. But if you're still not sure what you're gonna do, like being a general dentist for at least a year or two is actually really helpful. It's a really good experience. You're gonna be like sharpening your hand skill. You're gonna be able to manage patients a lot better. You're gonna be in the situation that you have to make your own decision. And it's like all of those experience gonna make you grow as a dentist before you go into a residency. And like, however, like if you, so there are pros and cons for being a general dentist first and then go to residency. So those are pros, but the con is just like you're losing a year or two. And I'm not gonna lie, once you get older, it's a lot harder to study. This is my own experience. Like, but I don't think it's a waste of time. So if you are sure that you're gonna do a certain specialty, just apply for it and then go with the mindset that it's all right if you don't get in. Just be a general dentist for a year. You're gonna gain a lot of things, and then you can try it again next year.
Yep, good to know. Thank you for your advice. I guess you kind of briefly mentioned about the program structure, the DMSc program, the one full year research and the 3 years of residency. But my another friend, David, I think he's in Perio and he does research and the residency simultaneously. So I'm just curious, how do you balance residency with your involvement in research? Do you just complete or you do them simultaneously?
Nope, I'm actually do it simultaneously. So the first year is actually research and also classes. For Harvard, there are like a core courses that required you to do, and you're gonna take that with other program, other specialty as well. So those, like most of the DMSc try to finish that on the first year. And apart from the core courses, we have this elective credit that we are required to do. So one, like a really good thing about it, a really good thing about Harvard is actually you can do a cross registration without paying any more money. You can do class in Harvard Business School. You can take class at Harvard Medical School. I took my elective at MIT. So like those are classes that you can take. Usually we try to take it on the first year while we're figuring out our research and get started. Some of the DMSc can actually finish their project on the first year. But I'm still doing research right now, even though I'm on the third year. So it depends on the project that you have and what you actually how big you want your research to be as well. So right now I have clinic. So I would say anytime that I'm not in clinic or I'm not at school, I'm in the lab doing research. So because we are shorten the time and get the dual degree, it's kind of like you need to work harder for that time as well. Yeah. So it's tiring, but I think it's worth it.
And what was the questions? Okay, good to know. So I think you already provided good advice, but do you have any additional advice you like to provide for dental students who would like to specialize?
So get good grades. That's I know, like I hate to say this too because grades is not everything, but like that plays important role in like the application. And I think one most important thing is actually connections. John is crying. Yeah, the connection is really important. If you know, like if you want to specialize in something, get connected to the resident in your school, get connected to the faculty, try to like reach out to people that's gonna be helpful during the application. Yeah, those gonna play a role in the letter of recommendation in your application as well. Yeah, and I would say just because once you specialize, you kind of have to be in that specialty. Like, not necessarily. If you want to change specialty, you can always change the specialty and go back to school, I would say. But just try to find yourself, make sure that you really want to specialize in that specialty before you jumped into it. Because like right now, even though I'm working really hard, but I'd say that I'm having fun learning orthodontic and I'm having fun doing my research. So if you're doing something or studying something that you really like, it's not gonna be that painful, even though you have to work hard.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your precious advice. Our last question is actually, we put this question as the last question in our list. Does your classmates or you, do you moonlight, like, working like once a week or maybe twice a week during the residency?
So I cannot moonlight because I'm an international dentist. So right now in Massachusetts, I have a limited license, so they don't allow me to moonlight. There are people that's actually moonlighting right now, and there are people that work a couple of days during a week or working during the weekend. Those are the people that are not DMSc though. The ones that I know mostly doing master degree program. However, I've heard that there are some changes in the policy that the school might not allow moonlighting. So, as you know, a lot of people are protesting about it. So they actually have a meeting, and I'm not really sure how school will proceed after this. So I can't really tell you like an actual answer right now, but as of now, we are allowed to moonlight. Yeah.
All right, good to know. Yeah. So we pretty much went through all the questions, and only if you're okay, maybe we can have extra 5 minutes just from the audience if they have any questions, if it's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you have a question from the audience, please raise your hand so that there's not like multiple people asking at the same time. So I actually did receive one question from the chat. You'll send a direct message. And then she's like, do you mind asking what range of GPA is acceptable?
Oh, I actually don't know about the range. Because I've never seen the information in the application, but I would say maybe ranking is more important than the grade itself. Yeah. So if you're like in the top rank of your class, it should be okay. But again, it's not everything, and it depends on the program as well. There are programs that's actually weight those score more, and there are programs that's actually weight other stuff more than that.
Yeah, so I think that makes sense because like there's one school I heard, like if somebody has 3.7 GPA, that's like number 1 or number 2 in the class. But there's another school where average is like 3.75 already. So if somebody's 3.7, they're below average ranking or something like that. So that's why GPA, I don't think there's a thing. Ranking is much more important. So Sean posted a question. How do you integrate your research into your clinical work? So what research are you currently working on?
So I'm doing basic science research at Dr. Wein lab at MGH. So I am working on a research titled Salt-Inducible Kinase Role in the Alveolar Bone Development. So that kinase is actually the downstream target of the PTH pathway in the tooth development and stuff. So actually it's like the only part that's right now that I can integrate it with my clinical stuff is the alveolar bone research. So right now it's like really early. So we are figuring out the role first, and hopefully we can do something more integrated to the clinical stuff. Yeah. So I guess right now it's pretty premature to integrate the research into my clinical work.
Okay, good to know. Yep. So anybody want to ask any questions? It's okay to ask question again about the repeat. You know, we have like 2 more minutes. This is really chill. You can ask anything. I don't think Dr. Nicha gonna hurt your chances or anything like that. You know, I think she's here to help you, so you can ask anything. Nobody?
I can give you email, like if you guys have any question or want to reach out, like feel free to email me.
Yeah, that'll be very nice if you post it in the chat. Oh,
Oh,
Sean asking good.
best and worst part of the MSc. Hard-hitting question here. All right. So best part of the DMSc is actually like right now I'm pretty I have a lot of fun actually working on research and the clinic at the same time. And I know that I'm gonna save a lot of time compared to like doing a pure PhD. And one thing after I graduated, I know that I have so many choices. I can go to private practice if I want to, but or if I can go to academia, I can do anything that I want right now. So that's the best part of the MSc. The worst part is actually, you know what? Sometimes I wish I have more year to work on stuff. The worst part is actually the time as well. So like I need to do a lot of stuff. And in the program itself, in the clinical part, they still expect you to do kind of the same work with the MMSc student. So you gotta prioritize stuff. Sometimes you gotta let go on your research and focus on your clinic. Sometimes you gotta let go in clinic and do more research. So you gotta accept that you can't be perfect on both stuff at the same time. And I would say sometimes I feel like I'm not as good. Because I don't have time to study as much as other people in the program. And when I'm comparing myself to other people in the lab who has full time in lab, I don't produce as much data compared to them too. So it's kind of like you're in between everything. So you got everything, but you can't have the best of both stuff. So that would be the worst thing in the DMSc, I'd say.
If it's okay, Dr. Nicha, may I ask you one question? Something that I really want to know.
Yeah, sure.
So, how is the academic job market in ortho? Like the reason I'm picking ortho is because I heard I can have a lot of choices between schools, and you know, I'm Korean and I would like to have some Korean stuff in the community that I want to live in. Like right now, I live in Florida, and you know, H Mart is a Korean grocery store, and that's about 5.5 hours away by driving. So it's a very different area compared to like Boston, you know. So you know, how is the job outlook as an academician in orthodontics?
I would say there's a lot of transition happening right now. So the job market for academia in orthodontic is actually quite available. That's what I've heard so far. So like honestly, like not a lot of people want to be in academia after they graduated from ortho, actually, at least not full time. A lot of people are willing to do a part-time faculty, but not the full-time job. So there's always some availability like in some place around the country. You just need to look for it or ask the right people for it as well.
Okay, I see. Okay, good to know. All right, yeah, Sean says, sounds like a lot like the EDS PhD. Thank you, Nisha. Keep crushing it. Yeah. Great. So, all right. I think this is it. I don't want to take up too much time from Dr. Nisha. She has a very busy schedule, you know, simultaneously working on research at MGH and finishing up the work at Harvard. So, you know, thank you so much for your time, Dr. Nisha. And you know, we should keep in touch. You know.
Oh, someone just asked for my email. Just a
Oh,
second.
email. That's right. Oh yes, that's right. Email.
Yeah. So you can send that to me, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good then. You know.
Right.
Okay. And yeah, I won't take up too much time of yours, and I thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you for having me here.
Yep.
Hope this helped.
Always very helpful. Thank you very much. Yeah. Have a good night. Just keep this open a little bit longer so that people can get their emails. Okay. Everyone got their emails? Okay. All right. There's enough time. So I'm going to close now. Okay. All right. Good night, everybody.